So I just made a quick little video a few minutes ago, just as an encouragement to all the estranged moms and grandmothers out there like myself. But as I mentioned, I'm going to share a little bit more about my story, and I do that so that maybe we all can kind of compare and see if there's any similarities. I find that in reading a lot of your stories out there, I could almost exchange my daughter's name and the story fits. The things they say, the things they do, there's a lot of similarities. Uh, so, anyway, I'm going to share a little bit more about my story today. Um, there were issues between my daughter and myself, my daughter and my husband and me. We said for years we walked on the thinnest of eggshells. My daughter had one child and left. She lived about maybe 25 to 28 days with her husband uh, when they first got married. And just no surprise to any of us, it didn't work out, but she was going to have a baby. And so that was in September of '08. And she came to live with us and lived out her pregnancy. The baby was born on April 10th of '09. And then 6 months later, she left in a rage. And after that happened, I kind of looked back and just thought, when did this go so bad? When did it go so south? Because when she was pregnant, uh, my mom lived in a little town kind of outside of the Dallas Metroplex and still does. But we lived in Dallas, and my daughter would go out on Monday nights to a little church group, small group. And I usually came out on Tuesdays and took her and my mom to lunch. And we did that most of the time. There were a few times that I just had other things and didn't feel like I could do it, but my daughter would call and beg me, "Oh, Mom, please come, please come. Just come have lunch." And so more often than not, I would. And so anyway, and we did a lot of shopping for baby things. And we had some good times. And that was when my daughter was pregnant, and that was in '08. And so one of my closest friends gave her a beautiful baby shower. We had a wonderful time. It just was a smooth, easy, good time. Maybe one of the best times between my daughter and me was that time that she was pregnant. And then so after she had the baby and came home, uh, it's one of those things that after it was all said and done, I had to reflect back and think, when did this go so south? When did it go so badly? And it just happened from the time she came home from having this baby. And so anyway, I had a few friends. Now, some of you, if you're not believers, you're not going to believe this, and that's okay. Uh, I do believe it, and actually, if you listen to the whole thing, it will maybe make you more of a believer too. But one of my good friends was praying for this situation, and she called me one day, and I didn't get the phone call, but she left a message, and she said, uh, you know, call me right back. I have something I really need to tell you. And so I did. I called her back, and she said, I was praying for, I'm going to call her Morgan. That's not my daughter's name, but just for privacy, I'm going to say her name is Morgan. So she said, I was praying for Morgan, and she said, the Lord just really spoke to me and said, what you're praying for, this is a generational curse. And it came on Morgan when she became a mother, because that's how these things work. They want to pass down. So I actually kept that little nugget to myself for some time because I was trying to keep things peaceful in general. But down the road, it might have been 2 or 3 years down the road that we found ourselves in counseling with a pastor. It was my daughter's pastor. It was Morgan's pastor. And my husband and I went that day just trying to work out this conflict, whatever it was, with my daughter. And I had no intention of bringing up what my friend had shared with me those 2 or so years ago. Uh, but when we got in and we were talking, all of a sudden I just felt like I'm supposed to share this. So I did. And my daughter was sitting next to me, so I could not see her. I was facing the pastor and his wife. And so he looked over next to me at my daughter and he asked her, he said, "Morgan, baby, does this mean anything to you?" And I heard nothing and kind of waited and waited. A few seconds go by. And so I just turned to look at her to see, why isn't she responding? And she was in a sobbing heap to the point where she couldn't even speak. Then finally, he had asked her, "Does this make any sense to you?" Finally, her first words were, "More than you know. I have been angry since the day the baby was born." He prayed over her that day, but nothing changed. But down the road, maybe even 2 years after that, at a time where we were able to talk some, Morgan and I were talking, and she said, "Mom, I know where this came from." So she not only confirmed initially that this made sense to her and she knew that this was what was happening, she told me, she said, "I know where it comes from, from her paternal grandmother. Uh, they had lost their firstborn oldest son in Vietnam, and as I understand it, they went to church every Sunday, Wednesday, but after it would be Jordan, it would be the uncle, right? It would be my daughter's uncle, and it just changed the grandmother to the point where she never went to church again the rest of her life. She was so angry. She was so angry at God. And so my daughter said, "I know where this comes from, Mom." She said, "It comes from Grandma." And so this word was given to a very faith-filled person that I trust. She shared the word with me. My daughter confirmed it, and even 2 years afterwards, saying that she even knew where it came from. So I've also seen a lot of people talking about it's evil. It's Satan's plan to divide and destroy families, which destroys everything. It destroys a nation. So I just wanted to share that story with you and see if anybody else has had anything similar to that, or if that makes sense to your situation. But it definitely does ours. Unfortunately, it's never been healed or delivered. So it goes on, and will be 8 years in May of this year. So I just wanted to share that, and welcome to comments. Again, if you don't believe, if you're not a believer, that's okay. I'm just sharing my story and how we've seen it play out so far. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I just pray for all of us that we see an end to this at some point. But in the meantime, I'm going to encourage you once again, do something for yourself today that you enjoy, and find a family in your neighborhood. Like I have a mom with 7 children. I bake cookies for her about once a week. And I just love those children. And I get that feedback from those children that I've missed so much. It's really wonderful. But anyway, do something for someone else once a week. If you can find someone in your neighborhood, that would be great. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. And God bless you all. And we'll see you soon.